Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes, 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe is leaving Fox's Undisputed after 7 years on the program. Now, according to reports, Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe has reached a contract buyout agreement to end his 7-year run on Fox Sports 1's Skip and Shannon Undisputed. Now, Shannon Sharpe's final broadcast is going to be after the NBA Finals end in June, and he's going to be taking his Club Shay Shay podcast with him from Fox Sports. Now, this is a surprise development for a lot of people out there. However, it was one that I basically predicted was going to happen to Shannon Sharpe, because when it comes down to the mainstream media, they don't like their black bootlicks to go out here and start speaking against the whites who are in charge. And that was the major mistake that Shannon Sharpe made as related to the Damar Hamlin incident. And when he made that mistake of speaking against what Skip Bayless was saying, to the point where they had a heated disagreement, this is where he started to show that the media arm of white supremacy could no longer trust or rely on him. Because what the media arm of white supremacy loves to do with black bootlicks like Shannon Sharpe is use them as a rubber stamp for their opinions, and they need these bootlicks to go out here and parrot the talking points that they want presented. And when Shannon Sharpe had the audacity to go out here and disagree with Skip Bayless, this basically was the handwriting on the wall as related to the end of his term at Fox Sports. Because when a black bootlick again goes out here and tries to speak and have his own opinion, that is something that is frowned on by the media arm of white supremacy. And the media arm of white supremacy doesn't like it when their bootlicks start going out here and thinking that they can have opinions of their own. And that was, again, the critical mistake that led to Shannon Sharpe winding up in a situation where Fox Sports was looking to go out here and find a way to get him off the air. And while they could not actively go out here and fire him like they wanted, they needed to find a way to get him off the air so that he would not be a loose cannon that would go out here and express an opinion that ran counter to the platform of Fox Sports. Because what they wanted Shannon Sharpe to do was be a humbled yes man who would go out here and smile and nod his head and agree with everything that was spoken. And when they saw him going out here and standing up against Skip Bayless, who basically showed us how much of a racist he was, that's when they decided that since Shannon didn't want to be Skip Bayless's butler, they were going to go out here and serve him a termination. Because the only reason why they're going out here and, again, buying him out is because you don't dispute white supremacy. And again, that's why the show's title is Undisputed. Whatever the whites who run the show say is not to be disputed. And when you start going out here and disputing what the bosses at the company say, that's when they get ready to show you the door. And this showing of Shannon Sharpe the door shows that it doesn't matter if you're an NFL Hall of Fame player, you're still an N-word to these people who run these media platforms, and your employment isn't guaranteed because, like Professor Black Truth has constantly said, bootlick is a job without a retirement plan. And that's what Shannon Sharpe is finding out right now, that bootlick is a job without a retirement plan, because your employment basically is at the will of these white supremacists. and at their will, they can choose to go out here and terminate your employment, even if you've got a contract. Because this whole buyout basically is a fancy way of firing Shannon Sharpe, and they're firing Shannon Sharpe because Shannon Sharpe wanted to go out here and express his opinions, and he wanted to assert himself as a black man. His mistake was thinking that he could go out here and stand up as a black man on a white supremacist media platform, and that is the big mistake that many black bootlicks go out here and make, is believing that they're allowed to actually have opinions. No, a black bootlick's job is not to go out here and assert himself, because that's when the whites in charge believe that he's uppity, and when they believe he's uppity, they want to upend him out of that position and show him the door, because the only opinions that are allowed on their media platforms are the ones that are endorsed. And again, with Shannon Sharpe showing defiance to his white paymasters, his white paymasters did not like the idea of a black man going out here thinking he could go out here and stand up for himself on their media platforms. They didn't like the idea of a black man going out here believing he could go out here and assert his opinions and assert to stand up to a white man and let a racist know that he is going to be checked. And when they saw him looking to check one of their white bosses, Skip Bayless, they decided that it was time to show him the door. Now, it's interesting that Skip Bayless has now received a 4-year extension as related to his contract, and he got that 4-year extension because he basically was doing what the white media wanted him to do. What the white media wanted him to do was go out here and present their talking points. And again, white supremacy loves elevating a white man. But when a black man goes out here and thinks that he can go out here and have power, like Shannon Sharpe did, they think they go out here and let him know that he doesn't have the power that he thinks. Now, Shannon Sharpe was one of these black bootlicks who thought, oh, I've got this position because I had a good career in the NFL. And he thought, oh, they will allow me to run into the end zone as related to retirement with this broadcast show. But they're giving him the same boot that they have given Roland Martin a couple of years ago. And they're sending him out the door because they see that they have this, again, loose cannon who they cannot trust to go out here and parrot the talking points that they want parroted as related to their narratives, as related to many of the slaves on the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and other sports plantations. They want to get themselves a house slave who will go out here and say what they want said, and that's what they see that they cannot get as related to what Shannon Sharpe presented as related to pushing back against the overseer known as Skip Bayless. And since he pushed back against an overseer, they are seeing him out the door. So this is what happens again when you think you're a black bootlick on one of these jobs. You think that you have security, but there is no security for a black bootlick on these jobs. No, you can wind up losing your job basically because these individuals see you as a threat, and they saw him as a threat because he decided to just interrupt a white man. Again, this was part of the old social rules of Jim Crow, but we see that the old social rules of Jim Crow are continuing on these days, and they're continuing because we have Shannon Sharpe, again, celebrated NFL Hall of Fame player, seeing that he's lost his job in the same way janitors used to lose their jobs during the days of Jim Crow for violating the unwritten social rules as related to interactions between whites and blacks, because the only social interactions that are considered acceptable are that a black person cannot dispute anything. And when Shannon Sharpe went out here to dispute things on Undisputed, he basically made it where all of those whites in power just agreed to say that it was time to end Shannon Sharpe's term at Fox Sports and decided that they would rather just buy out his contract and send him packing. And after they go out here and buy his contract out, what they're going to do to this black bootlick is basically freeze him out of the job market and make it where he cannot find work. The same thing that they did to Roland Martin, who now wants to talk about how pro-black he is. And I wonder, are we going to see Shannon Sharpe talking about how pro-black he is now that he's been shown the door by the media arm of white supremacy? I wonder if we're going to see Shannon Sharpe going out here talking about how we need to focus on black empowerment now that his power has been taken away by the media arm of white supremacy. I wonder if he's going to start talking about black empowerment and going out here talking about how we need to do something up for black people. Is he going to start talking about this as related to being a pseudo-Pan-Africanist, similar to Roland Martin? Or is he just going to go out here looking for some other place to go out here and bootlick? Because, again, this bootlick basically at 54 years old has signed the end of his career at Fox Sports, and I don't know if he'll find another good-paying gig like this. But again, his end ended when he decided to dispute those on Undisputed. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can send a donation to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, and novels like Eternal Night and The Thetas, you can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes, Godbreaker in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support black-owned and black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.